What's up, good people? We want to welcome you back to another family room.
We're excited to be here back with you today, and we're looking forward to today's topic. Now, Bishop loves to discuss finances. My husband loves to discuss
Even when I don't
finances.
have
John Ramsey
it.
Sr. loves to discuss finances. So I want to set the table for you that we are not judging anyone in this conversation.
Mhm.
What we're do is we're going to springboard off of a topic that is a part of his algorithm. It's not in my algorithm because he loves to look at different. When I say seriously, this is something he loves to do, to learn more about financial stewardship and also to help minister to other generations
Yeah.
about financial stewardship.
Mhm.
So tell them what has been quote unquote trending.
Well, one of the things that's been trending on social media a lot is a story about Floyd Mayweather, one of my favorite boxers of all time,
Hmm.
and the fact that he has made about 1.1 to 1.2 billion over his career, and they're saying that he's having financial troubles. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I'm not here to throw rocks at anyone, but it made me start thinking about missed opportunities with finances
Right.
and how we all can experience that, whether it's someone choosing to not contribute to the 401k, whatever the case might be.
Right.
There's a lot of scenarios out there that we have to make sure that we talk about a little bit to make sure that we don't have missed opportunities.
Something off topic. Have we met him before?
No,
Have we been? We've been to a
met Mike
professional.
Tyson before.
We did. That's. I
Mhm.
was like, we met somebody.
Yeah.
We met Mike Tyson before, but we've been to a professional boxing match before.
Yes.
But one thing about Floyd was he took it to another level with the whole paid per view. And
Mhm.
remember, he had to deal with Showtime. So,
Yeah.
he's done different creative things. He was very creative in his craft. And another reason his name is coming up too is because he's talking about doing an exhibition fight, right?
Yeah, and he's done a few of those, and he's
Yeah.
made quite a bit of money off of those. But for me, I love the fact that he has been incredibly creative
Uh
on how to
huh.
generate money.
Right.
I mean, I've watched that. I don't necessarily enjoy the flaunting, but in terms of the creativity, I don't think anybody in boxing history can ever say that they've met a fighter that was more creative in how to maximize their potential in a
Right.
particular sport and make money off of it.
And something that we have personally experienced over the years is individuals that have made a significant amount of money, whether it was an NFL player, NBA, WNBA player, whether it was a successful businessman. We don't know nobody that hit the lottery big, but most of the people, their gift or talent allowed them to make a lot of money. And what we have seen is not all of those individuals just blow money.
Hmm.
Some were very frugal, but they end up dealing with situations because of family members and friends
Yes.
that believe that, okay, because you made it,
Hmm.
we all made it too.
And one of the things I've dealt with a lot of what you know quite a few professional athletes is having to talk to them about literally cutting off family.
Cutting off
And that's
family.
not always an enjoyable conversation to have, but I've just known athlete after athlete that one particular one, um, I told him, I said, listen, I got to tell you something. This is not necessarily going to be something you necessarily want to hear. I'm not saying it to be harsh or anything like that. I said, but your mother is going to destroy your finances in your marriage
Hmm.
right now. That's what's going to happen. And I said, you're going to have to cut her off because he had bought her a house.
Hmm.
She wouldn't even pay the taxes on it.
Mm.
So each year he had to come back and do that. He had to come back and fix things up. But the thing of it is that he was never a high dollar athlete, meaning millions and
Right,
millions.
right, right.
His biggest year was $1 million, and I think he had that a couple years. But what I loved about this guy is that even when he was on the practice team, even when he was on special teams, he worked his way up.
Hmm.
He worked his way up, and he
Hmm.
managed his funds all the way through,
Right,
and just did an incredible job.
right. And we've been privy to, situations where individuals have dealt with some hostile situations
Yeah.
when they had to put guidelines and limits on it. Or here's a touchy topic. We've
Mhm,
seen this too. Prenups.
mhm.
Because what basketball player that was just in the
Um,
him and his girl.
Help me out, help me
He
out, help me
wanted to
out.
get married
Dak
to her.
Prescott, football player.
So that's the Dallas Cowboys quarterback,
Hmm.
correct?
Yeah.
I should know that, but I do. Um, He been with this girl. They got 2 kids.
Yeah.
They just
They were supposed to get
quote
married in
unquote.
April.
They're supposed to get married in
Yeah.
April.
Yeah.
So they're saying in the news that they just broke up because
Prenup. And
she won't sign the
they were
prenup.
they were going back and forth over the prenup on what it was going to be, and I guess maybe he had reached a point where he was at was non-negotiable, and maybe she was at a point where, hey, I don't want to do this, so therefore they call off the wedding, what, a month before,
Yeah.
a month before.
What are your thoughts? Now we've done weddings
Mhm.
where there was a prenup
Prenup. Yep.
ball.
Yeah.
We've been
You
there.
know what's so funny about it though? When I was in the storefront before I even met you,
Mhm.
I would preach hard on stuff like that, like with marriage and relationship. They got these prenups, and you shouldn't be marrying them if you don't trust them with your
Oh,
money.
so in
I
the
said,
beginning you were against
yeah,
them.
because I was broke. I said I was broke. I ain't had
Because you
nothing to
know
lose.
good and well you would ask me to sign a prenup if you was an NFL player and you had all the millions
Oh,
before.
if I was rolling out like that, yeah, that's the only way it's going down. I said, Lord, forgive me, Lord Jesus,
I know
forgive
he
me.
would ask me to sign a prenup. I already know that.
Mhm.
So, what changed your perspective then on that?
Um, People
Hmm.
and how society has changed,
Yeah,
and many times, even when a person's been in a relationship for a period of time, you do not always know the motives.
you don't.
And that's what makes it so challenging. So and again, I've done weddings where the person had a prenup, and
Mhm.
the female was like, well, if you love me, I don't feel like we should have to have that. And he said, I've had an extended career before I met you.
Right,
I don't feel like it's fair that I got to go all the way back here
right,
if something were to happen. Now, to this day, they're still married, and
right.
I don't see them, but I believe they're doing really well and so forth. But I do understand it more now.
We do. We had another situation. It was the female who had the prenup and she
Hmm.
wanted it signed by the male
Yeah.
because they got married later in life and she had achieved a lot of great success.
Hmm.
So we understand that now. So as we go back to when we were talking about, Floyd's Mayweather's situation, which we don't know if it's
Allegedly.
factual, it's allegedly situation. Could you imagine how many, you like to say like MC Hammer,
Hmm.
can you imagine how many people Floyd takes care of? Can you? I know he has children and children's mothers and an
I really
ex-wife.
don't.
Can you imagine?
I really don't. But I really believe that some of those athletes that before they even get into the pros or as they're getting ready to come into the pros, they need to have talks and conversations with their families because
Yeah.
when they first get a new contract and everything, they're not thinking about, okay, I'm going to buy all these things. They're thinking about, okay, I got to get out there and perform.
Right.
And you got your aunties and everybody else trying to hit you up. I think it's on, it's the responsibility of the person that has the money to have conversations with their family to put some boundaries in place.
Because
That
you
I
got
did not make it to the league to take care of all of your financial
right.
dysfunctions.
What about those ones that I'm gonna buy my mama house? I'm gonna buy, they on draft night. I'm gonna buy my mama house. I'm gonna buy
Yeah.
my mama car. Mama, you ain't gonna work no more. Mama, you can retire. That's another thing.
Hmm.
I know about Glorilla. She's a secular artist, a secular rapper, and it's 9 siblings. So she comes from a family. It's 9 of them,
Hmm.
and one of her sisters got on a live and was talking about Glow. Her real name is Gloria Hallelujah.
Hmm.
So was talking about Glow.
Okay.
Glow needed to give her, take her mom, retire her daddy, take her mama off of her job. She's like, my mama still go and my mama still working, my mama still do this, and she ain't retired my mama. She ain't bought them this, she ain't bought them this, and the
But
sister.
here's my question: why don't you do that?
What that's the thing.
You may not be famous, you may not have the money that she has, but you don't have to be
Yes.
if you want to do something for your
And
family.
trying to
So
tell
you're
her.
gonna try to designate what I'm supposed to do with my money,
I'm telling you, and she went.
and
I
that's
mean,
wrong.
she was on TMZ. She was all over
Yeah.
social media trying to tell her sister, who made it out the trenches, rapping,
Yeah.
what she needed to do with her money.
You know what that is to me? And I really hate to say it this way, but I don't know another way to frame it. I know some adjectives, but this is the one I'm going to use. That is a ghetto, that is case in point ghetto mentality.
It's a horrible
That
mentality.
you have to bail everybody out because you made it. And
Right.
that's that crab in a bucket type
Right.
thing where they want to pull the person down that's making it up. But my thing is, they had many of the same opportunities if they had put the work in. Or maybe it wasn't in a sport. Maybe it
Mhm.
was in corporate America.
Yes.
Maybe you have so much intelligence that you could have made it through law school
Right.
and use that as your as your career, but
Right.
yet you chose not to, you know.
Exactly. And when you begin to achieve success personally, we have the rule that a family member cannot come to me and ask me for money without me talking to him
Mhm.
about it. And we
Yeah.
decide together. The same thing for we decide together if we're going to bless somebody, if we're going to loan somebody money. And we've always had the rule, like you said, when we loan someone money, we are under the assumption that they will pay it back.
Mhm.
But we are not devastated if they don't, because we don't loan something we can't afford to lose.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens. You get angry because they didn't pay you that $500 back.
Mhm.
And you're so mad about that $500, but you say tell people all the time you shouldn't have gave it to them if you was
Yeah.
gonna be that angry about $500.
Money changes
It
relationships.
sure
You
does.
know, Dave Ramsey tells this story about when he and his wife got married. He said he was broke.
Tell them who he is in case people don't
Dave
know.
Ramsey is a financial guru, been
He's
around for
not his brother.
many, many years. You know, he's Caucasian, but I think we might be cousins. I'm not sure. But anyways, I've watched his program for years, and one of the things he was saying is that when he was broke, there came a time that he needed to borrow some money from his wife's father.
Okay.
And he said, and they would get it invited over there every couple of weeks for dinner on a Sunday or something after church.
Mhm.
And he said the food tastes different when you owe somebody money. He said, I started scraping and scrapping to do everything I could to
Yeah.
get that money back in his hand. He said, because even though they're not doing necessarily anything to beat you down or make you feel guilty or anything, he said, if you care anything about or you have any level of character,
Right.
you care about getting that money back in their hands. He
Right.
said, so for him, that's something they don't do anymore. Once it got to a point where he didn't have to, they don't do that anymore.
Yeah. So we've been talking about, money in relationships. We started out by talking about the boxer Floyd
Mhm.
Mayweather. We talked about what's his name? Prescott.
That Prescott.
Dax Prescott, the Cowboys. All you Cowboys fans out there, y'all have faith. Have
They
faith
got
in
faith.
God. Have faith in God. And we also talked about Glorilla, the rapper, because I'm telling you, it is going to be difficult sometimes to say no to mom,
Yeah.
to say no to dad, to,
Mhm.
to, to say no to your best friend, your siblings.
Yeah.
But you always teach us to look at the journey, the
Yeah.
long run.
Mhm.
Like now, where we are in life, our IRAs are important to us.
Very.
Retirement is important to us. Social
We
Security is
don't have
important to
long.
us. Those things, savings is more important to us. When we was in our 20s and our 30s, yes, we did a lot of things and did more, and but we saved, and we're teaching our children about saving. Now your daughter still don't have that concept.
No, she don't have it yet. Y'all pray for
She
her.
don't have it
She
yet,
she is gonna be a work in progress.
but
She
she
might be 20 before
but
we.
she will get it.
Yeah, she'll eventually
If
get it.
she will eventually get it.
Mhm.
So in this series today, I want you to understand that your money is valuable to you,
Mhm.
and never feel like you have to let a family member. Some people feel like they have to. That whole thing,
Yeah,
like you said, we would laugh about it. It's not funny, but it's real. You would say MC Hammer, like he was taking care of his whole entourage.
he had a lot of
He
people.
was like paying all these salaries and
I wish I was in his entourage.
and that's the thing. When you see people with these entourages and these people work for them. I was watching the document. I watched those documentaries. I think it was Starting Five, the one with Ant-Man on it.
Hmm.
And I was like, his cousin is the cook, his this is that. Like, he got to pay all them salaries
Yeah.
of these people and move them to where you live at and
Mhm.
those types of things. So, a lot of those athletes want to give people jobs, but you got to make sure you set up a real business corporation. Like LeBron is a machine.
Mhm.
He has a whole entity, a corporation. So, of course, he has people that work for him. But so many individuals, they don't think the long run.
They don't think about the long term impact of what
Yes.
they're doing right now.
Yeah.
If you're 18 years old and you start saving $100 a month in an IRA, by the time you are 68, 69, you will have approximately $1.4 million
It's
in that
awesome.
IRA
It's
if you
awesome.
started as early as 18.
18.
So many people in our culture in particular,
Yeah.
they take money out of their IRA, and in 40 years, I have yet to see anybody put it back.
Yeah.
So you really got to be wise about your money. And sometimes the best thing you can give your family is a stable you. And I
Right.
see so many people that they're struggling in their finances, but they're trying to pay mama's rent and daddy's car note and
Mhm.
that type of thing. Think about the airplane. You get on the airplane, they say, in case of an emergency, put your mask on first.
That's it.
Then you help somebody else. You can't help them if you can't breathe
That.
financially. And that's where a lot of people are. And for
Yep.
some families, unfortunately, if you will be their bailout, they will always need one.
That's it. You tell us all the time that you can't spend your money on your wants and beg your
Yeah,
needs.
you can't buy your wants and beg your needs.
Yes, you can't do that. You can't have champagne taste on a Kool-Aid. Well, they don't drink
Kool-Aid
Kool-Aid no more.
budget.
You can't have a champagne taste on a Gatorade budget. They don't hit the same, do it?
No, it don't hit the same. See, if you're old enough, you remember
But
Kool-Aid.
people don't know nothing about Kool-Aid. They don't know nothing about Kool-Aid.
Yeah, y'all got to look it up.
Yeah, but we spent this time talking about financial stewardship. So make sure if you have a comment or you want something shared on this podcast, you want us to talk about something. Maybe there's something on your heart or on your mind, or you would like us to dig deeper in a particular area, put it in the comment because we do. We
Yeah,
go back and we watch them. We go back and we read your comments. Now, if you say something negative or you say something inappropriate, we just gonna block you.
yeah,
We start right.
yeah,
We're not gonna do that. What we're talking about is if you truly are connected to this podcast and you want us to talk about a subject, then we are going to do our best to address it.
yeah. So do your best to set a budget for yourself, to
Uh-huh.
to stay on that budget. If you're married, you and your spouse should have a copy of the budget.
Yeah, that's good.
Do everything together. The Bible says two can't walk together unless they agree. The number one reason for divorce in America is not adultery, it's over finances.
Money.
So if you are married or even considering marriage, you really got to have an agreed upon plan as to how finances are going to be managed.
It's in your book. A marriage made through heaven but going through hell. You talk about money issues there.
Smart money
This
management.
one, biblical keys to maximizing your marriage. You better believe John Ramsey Sr. is talking about a chapter on finances there. And it's the key.
Yeah.
It is one of the keys. And we're not, sometimes people think all we do is talk about money. Money's a big part of
Mhm.
your life, of who you are.
Well, one of the reasons why we talk about it is because we're the ones sitting in counseling rooms dealing with couples that don't have any. And so I think if the Bible, if we're about the full gospel, then we got to be able to teach some things along that way. And just also, let me throw this out as a disclaimer: we're not we're not gurus in this. I'm not a
Right,
guru in this, and we are not where we want to be.
right,
We got a plan. That's why we got some grinding to do. We got some hard work to do
right.
over the years before we get to that point where we think we can be fairly comfortable going into retirement or whatever it might be.
Because life happens,
Mhm.
COVID hit different, different things happen in your businesses. We know you didn't plan to file bankruptcy. We know you didn't think you were going to have to move your mother in when she became sickly. So we know things can happen and life can happen.
Yeah.
That's why you do your best to plan accordingly and make the adjustments that you need to make because the financial stewardship is so important. And you're never too young. Maybe you just been married a year. Maybe you're just in college now. Maybe you're in high school. You're never too young to get on a budget to start saving for your retirement and using wisdom in your stewardship.
So listen, we hope you got something out of this podcast today. Do me a favor, would you please? Would you subscribe to our channel? Would you share it with your friends? You know a friend out there somewhere that needs some information on what we talked about today. So share the link to this particular platform and also make sure you subscribe as well.
It
Un-
has been, you
uh,
got it?
yeah,
Another episode
of
of
the
the
family
family
room.
room.
Take care.